Be happy. Be healthy. Be your best.
So I want to welcome you today. This is a very special podcast for me today. I am sitting here with somebody who I have been associated with at my clinic for about 15 years now. And this is Sunshine Gearhart. And I am thrilled to have her today and so grateful, by the way, that you came, because over the years, I have just seen her make so much progress in her personal life. And she has some really unique capabilities that she now is extending and has actually started her own business. And I just feel that the services that she has to offer are so valuable that I wanted to do this interview with her today so that you would know about her. And if you evaluated in your life and saw that you had need for her services, I would really encourage you to jump on this opportunity to give her a call, because what she has to offer is not only unique, but it's very valuable, especially from an emotional standpoint. Let me just take a minute here to explain why. Uh, Sunshine is actually a paper solution certified organizer with Organize 365, and she's also HIPAA certified. So she has the unique ability to help people organize and get off of their mental and emotional stress level, all of that paperwork that just drives them nuts. So I'm just going to talk with her for a little bit here and help you get a really good understanding of what it is that she offers and how beneficial it can be for you, especially on a stress, anxiety, emotional level. So I'm so happy to have you here today. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate everything you have offered and done in my life and helped me just, be healthier. And now I can do something like this. I am really thrilled. I looked at this flyer that you handed me this morning, and I can just immediately see the value of what you're doing. Um, I see that you have planning workshops, you have binder workshops, paper organizing workshops, and seasonal virtual workshops. And this to me just covers pretty much everything that somebody would want if they were wanting to organize their life from a paper standpoint. So, can you just tell me a little bit about what got you doing this and kind of in a nutshell, what you're offering to people to help them with?
Yes. So I have always kind of been an organized person, and I naturally organize my friends, and all my paid jobs have been where I'm organizing. That's making a manual or doing things to organize that business as well, just because how my brain works and the notes I take so I can learn a new job and what I'm doing. And I just find like this just carries over for everything. And people don't know what to do with their paper. So they might be able to organize their closet or their kitchen cupboards, but they don't know what to do with boxes of paper that are maybe from their parents or all the years that they've kept them. Or, I was a homeschool mom. So after I finished homeschooling and kids are gone, it's like, now what do I do with all this? And I didn't need it anymore. But I still had a lot of paper that I did keep, because obviously I like paper, or I wouldn't be doing this in the first place. But it's not overwhelming to me. So I can really help people. I can get in there and take away that anxiety and just give them that confidence that they can do this and help them work through with tools. And then I have these virtual workshops so that we work together and there's accountability and training there. And then they can go through their own papers and we go through that together. I'm not the get in there and I organize it for you. I'm the person that's more training and teaching and mentoring and cheering people on so that they can get this accomplished.
So basically, you're not just giving people the fish; you're teaching them how to fish.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That is so valuable.
Yes.
Do you find that people almost, when they have that much paper that they need to organize, and especially if they've had uh, parents that have passed away or kids that have gone to college or whatever, do you find that they almost on an emotional level get into a state of paralysis?
Yes, very definitely. And then they just have this constant anxiety. And then the paper, it's heavy in person, but then it's also heavy in the brain. It just takes up all this mental space and emotional space, and it reduces your capacity to live your life doing what you're created to do. And so when they start tackling that, then they start getting this sense of accomplishment. The brain likes those small wins. So when you get through a box or, get through that stack of papers that maybe has been piling up on the counter, then it feels good and you want to do more of that. And it doesn't have to be something you do your entire life. You get some systems in place, and then you ideally wouldn't have that overwhelm and that physical drowning feeling with the clutter and disorganization of all the papers and whatnot around you. And a lot of these tools can be used to declutter your things, like in your bathroom drawers and cupboards, and the rest of your house. It does carry over, but oftentimes there's so many books and specialists out there to help with organizing your house, but then people don't know what to do with paper.
That makes so much sense. Do you find that people, once they get started, I know for me, I am a self admitted control freak. And sometimes what happens with me is when I have too much of something or whatever, and I don't quite know where to start, if I don't have a plan, I almost get into this emotional paralysis
Yeah.
state. And then I just find myself scrolling YouTube or something just to get relief from the anxiety that I'm feeling. Whereas if I can come up with an initial step, an initial plan, then it seems like that allows me to all of a sudden take action. And then once I take the action, I start to get momentum. So do you find people starting to get that momentum?
Yes, and that's such an exciting thing to see and to be part of someone's life. When they trust me to join them on this organizing journey, they usually have these high levels of anxiety or such overwhelm that they're depressed with it. And then all of a sudden, you just see their countenance change, their body language change, and then they're just gangbusters going on all of this, getting so much accomplished. And it's just fun to see all of that.
Well, that is really good. That's really, really good. I would imagine that once they start getting some planning and some control with something like paper, it is going to start puddling out and affecting all areas of their life. At
Mhm.
least I found it. It's like there's times, well, even like with doing a podcast, that I have to plan my next podcast and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And at the same time, I've got to get my mom's sticky thing in the car to hold her phone, and I've got to get something else done. And yet, if I get action in one area, all of a sudden I seem to have the energy and I tackle this over here and that over there. And pretty
Mhm.
soon I'm getting a lot accomplished.
Yes.
So my guess would be that if somebody has that much paperwork, it's kind of like it's probably always there in the back of their mind.
Yes.
It's actually taking up headspace.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
that would actually affect their ability to concentrate on other things as well.
Yep. And it affects how they show up. It affects confidence. It affects their ability to just even think straight, to be able to plan something. It affects their self worth. I mean, it's really amazing how it just goes so much into your daily life. Whereas if you can get on top of it, like even sometimes you have so much paper, you can maybe the decision is that all of it has to go. Like, I know people get overwhelmed thinking, I don't want to touch every single piece of paper when I have 35 boxes worth of paper piled up. Then that is your choice, whether you're going to do that or not. Can you kind of open a box and just kind of look in it and kind of guess what you think is in there? Like what are their needs? And I guess that goes farther, finding out what everyone's individual needs are, because everyone's different and their space is different. And then the mental space that they hold and how it's affecting their capacity is very different as well. So what might work for one person is not going to work for the other person.
So that's a really valuable point then. You're actually needing to go in and not only help them with the paperwork they have, you kind of need to evaluate what their skill level is and what they excel in and what their weak points might be, because then you can help them take advantage of what they already have a strong point in
Yes.
and apply it, but at the same time, help them with those areas that they might not quite have the strength to do.
Yes. And I love that part. That is so fun to me. I love being able to figure that out and then ask them the questions that they can make these decisions on themselves, because there's not a right or wrong. And this is their life, this is their home, and they don't need to organize it to please me. They need it where they can then access what they need to access, have what they need to have, and get rid of what they don't need. And that's different for every person. So to have them come to that understanding and learn those skills and have tools in place for that so they can continue making these decisions so they don't get so overwhelmed again is really rewarding.
So, in your experience, have you seen, like you mentioned, somebody with 35 boxes? Have you seen that there are people that may have a ton of boxes, and yet there may be other people that just have even just a few? Or what popped in my mind was all of a sudden they're facing like an IRS audit, and where is it? How do I find it? how do I whatever? So somebody may not have necessarily felt the need for your services, but all of a sudden a circumstance in life makes it where what you can offer to help them to do could be really, really valuable, especially if it's time sensitive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Definitely.
So let's talk a little bit more about this. So you have weekly reset and planning workshops. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, those are really fun. And what those do is, we have all this information that comes at us all week long. So you get things from, if you have kids, you get things from school. If you're taking classes, you have your paperwork from classes. You have, maybe your employer has these paid holidays and you want to know when those are, your pay dates, just mail, junk mail, so much junk mail, all these things that come at us all week. And then that can easily become clutter if people don't know what to do with that. So this weekly reset and planning workshop, we get together. I have some teaching throughout it. And I have a large timer so people can see the timer, and we have the work time to be able, it's all my workshops, I try to keep them generally about an hour and a half. So 90 minutes. And we can really get a lot accomplished when we're working together like that. And so you get time to process all of this information. And with that, I use the Sunday basket from Lisa Woodruff of Organize 365. That's who I'm licensed with for the paper solution part. And we just work through that. And it's just so fun to see people get on top of their week, be able to plan their week and have when their mindset is clear and they can make good decisions and have some buffer time that they're putting this time in on their whatever their calendar system is to be able to then accomplish what they need to accomplish. Because so many times people don't know even how to budget their time. So really this weekly reset and planning is a lot about taking in all this information. What do you need to accomplish this week? And now how are you going to get that done? Where can you do that? Where can you assign this to yourself to get this accomplished?
So in other words, they could wake up on Monday morning, kind of like the whole dieting thing, and they got the best intentions.
Yes.
But the next thing they know, it's Sunday night, and a week later, and they still haven't gotten it accomplished.
Yeah, because you can have everything organized. You can have this, like the Sunday basket that we use or any other system for a command center kind of thing. And if you don't then process it, if you don't actually work through it, then you're really not getting anywhere. So that's the thing is to keep your word to yourself and have those times built in so that you can, yes, you have it organized, but then that makes it easier throughout the week to grab what you need and work through that, whether it's phone calls, emails, or making those cupcakes for school, for the classroom, or yeah, we got to have a meal plan too.
Well,
It doesn't have to be too much.
that would be so valuable in so many other areas of life, though. You can see where if they start to get something that is so visible and then they commit to doing something about it, they're going to start carrying those principles over to all the other areas of their
Yes.
life as well.
Yeah.
So what are the binder workshops?
The binder workshops, ideally, they're more all your reference papers. So we're not thinking archival in this sense, like file cabinets. We're thinking more of a binder where there's something that you need to access often. And so you would have it in a binder. And if a file cabinet works, then that's you use what you need and what works for you. But the system particularly is you go through binders, and then there's the knock system, next of kin and all that. So the idea is that these binders are set up if you were able to make decisions for yourself and someone needed to come in and kind of help run your household, or if you had a medical emergency, how can someone advocate for you, or how are you advocating for someone else? You need to have all that organized. And this is all basically at your fingertips when they're in binders, and it's portable. So if you had to evacuate, you could take it with you. If you needed to go to an appointment, you can take it with you. And Organize 365 has, like with their financial binder specifically, it is really set up to help you succeed in taking that binder. If you're advocating or setting up an estate, then everything's in there that would be needed that you could give to the lawyer. And that is huge because that saves you thousands of dollars when you're that prepared. And, if you buy the binders through Organize 365, then there's that whole program.
It's already a developed system.
Yes, it is a developed system. And then if it doesn't work for you, you can tweak it so that it does work for you. I have some clients and the medical binder as it is set up doesn't necessarily work for the stage of life they're in. And that's okay. We tweak it. And working with me, we get to find out what is going to work for you and then set you up for success to create that binder to be that system that's going to help you in the way that you need it when you do need it.
That's really interesting. I've always been encouraged to have a to-go bag. for natural disasters.
Yep.
Something that you can just grab and go. And I can see where it would even be really valuable for people not only to have a to-go bag, but to have their binders located where you got to go, you just grab and go,
Exactly.
even for a situation like that. And when you
Mhm.
look at how things have been happening in the world lately, there's more and more of a need for people to be that organized with things that are essential. Even
Mhm.
other things like finding your titles to a vehicle,
Mhm.
or people have to find different things like vaccination records to
Yes.
travel, or different things like that. And
Yeah.
if they've got 35 boxes, they're trying to even take the time to find something, and then the frustration level of not being able to find it.
Yes.
So I can see so many levels that this would not only emotionally be beneficial, but also physically, just from a stress and time wise, be
Yes.
just
The
so good.
the peace of mind is invaluable with this. So my paper organizing workshops, if you don't
Yeah,
mind
the
me
next
jumping
one.
into that. Yeah. So those are I've so far I've really the success with people's attention span and the stress and overload that they're already with paper. I've been doing like 4 hours and 6 hours. And my favorite is the 6 hour long paper organizing workshop because we get so much done. The first hour, depending on how detailed someone is, it can go up to 2 hours. But we're filling out this like a paper organizing survey, line by line for all the kinds of paper that you're going to come across. And if you actually have something you know of and it's not listed, we make a category for that and put it on there. And the idea is that you make that decision once, and then you don't have the brain fatigue later because you already spent all that time making that decision. And now it's a tool for you moving forward for anything you tackle, whether that's your own papers, your children's papers, your parents' papers, whatever you're going to come across, work papers, even. And then if you find then we go into actually organizing. And then I help schedule the breaks and make sure people are drinking water, staying hydrated. Because paper is very, it takes, your hands need lotion. You need to be hydrated. It's amazing how much that does take from you. And then people get so much accomplished. And when you're doing that, you're then, it's kind of like a large sort of all of your papers. You're taking, whether it's one box or, if you have a handful of, or like laundry totes or bins and stuff, you got to start somewhere. So you literally, if you know that there might be something important in this box, then that might be the box you choose.
You
And
got
if you
it.
don't know, or if these papers are maybe your aging parents or they've deceased, then it doesn't matter necessarily what box you pick. The point is we can just get through all of this. And with that, it's a really good place to start because then you find if there's any actionable papers, you put those to the side because they need to be taken action on, which is where the weekly reset and planning workshops come in handy to teach you how to take action on those papers. And then when you're making your piles, that's where you'll find, oh, this is all my medical papers. This is all my financial. This is my maybe memorabilia or whatever the
So that goes
situation
back to the
is.
binders.
Yeah. So then that goes into the binders. So all of this really plays in together to help people get hold of all this and get on top of it and feel that success in their life and that control to the level that they need individually to keep it organized from there going forward.
Really cool.
Thank you. It's
Okay,
fun.
so the last one that you have listed here is seasonal virtual workshops.
Yeah, so actually, all my workshops are virtual. I do have some paper organizing workshops that are in person, and then that those have been so fun. So we're looking at next year doing a few more workshops in person. Like the binder workshop, that is a great one. If we did a longer one and did it in person, I have a planning purposely workshop I offer about 4 times a year. You can also do that with someone individually if something just goes really haywire in their life, if they got a certain diagnosis or different living situation or something really comes up and they don't know how to get, schedule this into their life and how to make everything fit. Then we can have a kind of a one-on-one where they're at that moment of the year. It doesn't need to be a certain season, but that's the fun thing. I love planning. And so this is fun to go over the planning purposely workshop. And we just look at the time ahead of us and make sure we're getting everything that we need to know about on our calendar and figure out for each individual what their needs are. If they need their calendar to be shared with family members, then how is the best way to share that? Whether that's digitally or something physical on the refrigerator or in the, on a wall somewhere. If people use like a paper planner or a calendar or versus the weekly planner, there's all that stuff. So I have a little short session on finding what's going to work for them so they can leverage that best in their life to move forward and accomplish all the tasks. And for us women, we really are the ones that hold it all together and have all of it. It's it really is the women. If there's someone that needs a, like a aging parent, it's usually the woman that is called to come and take care of that and step
You
in.
think?
And then if you got
I'm
kids,
the oldest and the daughter, and
yeah,
who lives with me? My
yep,
mom, and I love it. But yes, it does fall on me much
yeah,
more than my other three brothers.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And same if you're, have little kids or teenage kids, whatever, in the
got those
college
too.
age kids, yeah,
Glam
yeah. Then
Yeah,
who's the one that might get called at work to come take a sick one home from school or take someone to a doctor's appointment? So we have to pivot our schedule. We have to have enough, margin in there to be able to get what we need done, especially if you have a paid job you need to clock in for. Then how do you get all this stuff done, especially if
right,
there's these interruptions? And then how are you going to frame that? Are you going to look at it as an interruption, or are you looking at it that this is a blessing that I get to nurture these people in my life?
right.
And I don't want it to be a burden. So then how can I still do what I'm uniquely created to do in addition to being that nurturer, having that nurturer role and taking care of this? So we make space for that and make a plan for that. And that's, I love that. I think it's fun.
That last part, just the emotional component of it all is just what stands out to me because, well, in the work that I do, we do inner voice with people and record their voice, and it shows what emotions are out of balance, and then that points us to the body where the brain is sending neuropeptides that aren't good for the organ, gland, or system and actually affecting the inside of their body. So when you talk about these things that are just they're such emotional buttons.
Yes.
They're just buttons, and they come at us every day in different. Like I
Mhm.
just had a bunch of car repairs I've got to do. It pushes your button.
Yep.
It upends your world. So having the ability to use these tools and organize everything, to me, from a stress, anxiety, emotional standpoint, um, it's just going to have such a huge benefit. Huge benefit.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you've got here. I think
Thank you.
it's extremely valuable. And I
Thank you.
think there are a lot of people who wouldn't even know that this exists
Yes.
and they don't know where to start.
Yes.
And so when they can go where they don't know where to start and just start with you, it looks like in a fairly reasonable amount of time, they can start to feel like they've got that control again and are able to, once again, have more time to take the kids that they have to pick up or do the other things
Yeah.
without having this hanging over their head.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
what's your website?
It is simplifiedwithsunshine.com.
Okay. That's simple and
Thank
easy
you.
to remember. Say it one more time.
Simplifiedwithsunshine.com.
That's great. And people can just check the website for event details that you have, and they
Yep.
can sign up on your email list, correct?
Yep. That's the best way
Okay.
to contact me is through email. Yep.
Okay.
And one thing I'm finding, I have a lot of clients I get to help that are neurodivergent. I have some low vision and hard of hearing. And
Ah,
so one of my weekly resets, I have two on Mondays. One is in the morning and one is in the afternoon. And my afternoon weekly planning and reset is distraction free. I just haven't advertised it that way. So I'm going to start doing that. But that really helps people that might be a little bit ADHD, and like these earrings would drive them crazy as they're moving, or just like there's no background. They're not looking at what is that book? What is that title of that book? Yeah. So I try to have like no distractions, and then it's a little better one-on-one for that kind of. I mean, it's still workshops, so we're together online, but it's not so. It doesn't have those
Well, you're just
distractions.
making
The
it where they're
visual.
going to get the most benefit,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
different limitations that they might have.
Yeah.
So that is, well, I
Yeah.
love your earrings, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this has been wonderful. I really appreciate your coming. I think this is just an invaluable service that you have to offer.
Thank you.
And I can just see so much that there would just be huge emotional, mental, and physical benefits to taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
So I encourage all of you to get a hold of Sunshine. You may never have even had a concept before that there was somebody out there that could help you with something that has possibly overloaded you, burdened you, or even in just day to day. If you don't have boxes and boxes of paperwork, maybe you've just been trying to figure out how to organize things better.
Mhm.
Okay. We live in a crazy world right now, fast moving. And a service like this could just be so beneficial on all levels. So thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm just so happy that you came. And like I said, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of this very unique and very beneficial service.
Ooh.